Alright, so this video is going to go over how to catch bass in the pre-spawn, which is right now up until about April, 1st April. Not that you can't use these methods to catch spawning fish, but they're really, really good for pre-spawn fish. So, what the fish are doing right now, where are they? Right now, the males are typically just looking for territory. They're looking for areas that a female is going to want to lay her eggs come this April, May, and even March in some parts of the country. So basically, the females right now, they're trying to fatten up because they have to grow several pounds more to supply their eggs, especially those 7-pounders that you would catch in July. They're now like 8.5. They're significantly heavier because they're trying to be super fat. That way they can produce thousands of eggs. So what you need to be looking for if you're going to go out and fish, you want a warming trend. You don't want to be out there like the day that it's raining and it's cold and it's terrible, because the fish are going to probably be really, really lethargic. And I'm talking about small ponds. In big reservoirs, you do want cloudy days this time of year. But I'm talking about small bodies of water, 100 acres or less, maybe even 200 or 300 acres or less. And what you're looking for is a couple of warming days. I'm talking about like sunny day or mostly sunny day, another one, and then you want to go out on the sunniest, warmest day possible. And you need to be fishing nice rock bottom. It doesn't have to be chunk rock, but just like gravel kind of stuff. Not to say that they won't be on the siltier stuff, but they really will like the rock stuff. Find that shallow rock. They'll really gravitate toward logs if it's really sunny right now. This is because rocks and logs will absorb sunlight better than the water, and they will become warmer. And fish being cold-blooded, they gravitate this time of year when it's cold toward warmer objects. So, what you need to be doing is focusing on the north side of the lake. The north side of the lake is the warmest side of the lake. This is because here in the northern hemisphere, our sun typically stays in the southern part of the sky, and its most direct sunlight then would be on the northern shoreline of whatever body of water that you're fishing. Like I said, look for rocky shorelines, but you also want to be looking for good spawning spots, because they're going to be getting ready to go to those spots. The males will be there guarding those spots, and the females are going to be ready, getting ready to go to those spots. So, find some good little coves that have good wind protection, nice calm little coves, hopefully rocky. And what you need to be throwing are these classic pre-spawn lures. So the first one, this works basically in like January and February and March when it's super, super cold, as well as when it's super, super warm in the summertime. This is a really versatile, easy lure to use. I've caught many a 5, 6, 7-pounders. I haven't gone above 7 pounds on it, but still really good. I've caught a lot of numbers on this lure. It's the floating worm, and you guys saw me talk about that in a video before, and I really, really like them, and I'm going to make a video on how to throw those, especially because in your city lakes, people aren't throwing those because I guess they simply don't know about floating worms. This other one, I'm sure you've heard 100 times on YouTube, is a Senko, or any kind of form of a Senko, really. I don't really like the wacky worm style, but I will show you guys how to rig and fish that later. Just letting you know that Senkos are a good lure, or at least that they can be. Spinner baits, they can be good if you don't have what we call willow blades. So right now, the water's really cold and the fish are lethargic because of it. So if you have a spinnerbait with these kind of blades, willow, they're really streamlined and they go through the water fast. This is a summertime spinnerbait, summertime, because this goes through the water very quick. These blades have very little resistance. What you want to find is something called a Colorado blade. And you want to get a single giant one. So a nice Colorado blade like that big off of that spinnerbait. That way it's going to travel real slow through the water. And you want to reel that thing basically as slow as you possibly can get away with. The best lure for big fish and for many fish, probably the all-around lure for this time, has got to be the suspending jerkbait. And I can't say this enough, suspending. I can't say this enough simply because I went to the store to buy some stick baits. I call them stick baits. It's just a Missouri thing. But jerk baits. And I didn't even look at the stupid packaging, and I got a floating one. And so, not that that's not terrible. It's just this time of year, when it's really, really cold and the water's like, 40-something degrees, those fish really don't want to go chase after something nearly as much. So if you have a suspending lure, which means it doesn't float or sink, and you stop that jerkbait there in the water column and it sits there, it's way more likely to get a bite than something that's moving up and down in the water column. Super flukes can be good. They're basically soft plastic jerkbaits. So I don't have all my stuff here. I just have like a bag of stuff that I got at Bass Pro Shops. But I will have all my stuff here within the next month, and I can go really in depth in like lines to use, how to tie leader knots, and etc. But super flukes are a lure that can be good. They're basically a soft plastic jerkbait. So when you have really shallow water, that if you use a hard lure in, you might hang up on stuff like grass or mud or something. That can be a really, really good bait. I've caught a lot of big fish on that. And the next thing I want to point out is a finesse jig. I typically like Jewel. Jewel's a great company. They've done me pretty good. I've caught plenty of big fish, and I'll roll some clips here of me catching some big fish on jigs. Actually, just pictures, not clips. But this is what I really like, these finesse jigs. And you want to put a trailer that's kind of small, that's going to have a lot of drag so that they fall slowly. This is still, basically wintertime fishing. And basically, with that slow fall, it's going to really entice those bigger fish to come out and feed, because right now, those big females that you're looking for, like this one here, they're really just looking for food, and a lot of protein, and just meaty kind of things. Like I said, they're trying to pack on pounds. And so when you give them something like a jig that represents something like a crawfish or something that's, very, very meaty, it's basically like a protein bar, and it's just fluttering down real slow, they can't resist that. Actually, I shouldn't have used the word fluttering, because personally this time of year, I don't like using those, like, you'll see me use these in the summer months, like pack-a-chunk and pack-a-craw and stuff like that. I think it's, pack-a-chunk. They have these flappy claws. I don't like that this time of year. I like really subtle ones, so I'll get straight or clawed ones that just don't flap. They just kind of go up and down instead of like flapping on the way down. But still find a really big trailer. I'll get into that a little bit later, but right now all you need to know is finesse jigs. Typically I weight them anywhere from 5/16 of an ounce to 7/16 of an ounce. The two colors I really, really like, I caught that big fish you saw there on this guy. This is peanut butter and jelly colored. That's a really good one. And this one is kind of a root beer colored. I like it a lot. Both made by Jewel. Really like that company. And the last lure I'm going to talk about, again, I don't have my stuff here to point it out directly, but it's called a slider-headed worm. Nobody throws these anymore, and it's probably the easiest thing to catch a lot of fish on. Any time of year, any condition. It could basically be, like an ice storm in the summer, like the craziest, most flipped up weather pattern possible, and a slider-head worm will still catch fish. And on a good day, it catches a lot of fish. I've had good 50, 60, 70 fish days on slider-head worms. And they're really simple to use. Like the floating worm, they're really cheap. And the only thing that's really expensive about them is the hooks. And, for you pond fishermen, getting a bag of slider-head worms and slider-head jigs, that's all you really need to go around and pond hop and catch a bunch of fish. Although I will say, it doesn't tend to catch big fish. I don't know why, it just doesn't. The biggest fish I've ever caught is 4 pounds. The biggest fish my buddy's ever caught is 4.5 pounds. And I've never heard of a fish over 5.5 pounds being caught on a slider-head worm. That being said, it catches just a crap ton of fish. You load the boat with those things. The cool thing about jigs is that somehow they not only catch a lot of fish, but they catch a lot of big fish too. I know my dad caught his personal best on a jig with a really big fat trailer. He slow folded it in some brush up shallow in shallow water, and it came out with this 12-pound pig. And it just goes to show that if you fish jigs right during the early months of the year, you can really come out with those big females